So needless to say, we got in a lot of trouble. One of the things that we used to do is we'd make oats, like as an oatmeal with condensed milk. And then we'd mix up anything else we could find that was sweet in there because we wanted that carb and sugar. And so we, we'd have oats with condensed milk and with what's called Milo. Milo was just a brand of like quick chocolate, chocolate or cocoa powder that you can put in there. And there was another one that's called Horlicks, and it was another kind of you could make in the morning, sort of like a cereal-ish taste to it. And so we would make this concoction. I think my brother Colin came up with, and we all ate it. We tell my mom, can we have some oats and milk? And she's like, okay, go in there and go get it. So one of the times I said to my mom, she was cooking dinner, and I said, Mom, can I have some oats and milk? And she says, no. And I was like, come on, Mom, can we have some oats and milk? Because one of the things about boys in particular is we figured out that we could wear our mom down, in particular wear our parents down, but particularly our mom. So we just wait until a visitor come over if she told us no, and then come over and then go to her at that time when the visitor is over and say, Mom, can we have some oats and milk? And of course, she doesn't want to say no in front of the guests, so she'd say okay. So we all, when you have 4 kids, you learn how to push all those buttons so you can get over. Now my dad was the disciplinarian. And so what would happen is that he had sort of a military style of way that he disciplined. He would never discipline just one of us. He would discipline all 5 of us. So we're essentially responsible for each other's action. So if we got in trouble or we were being loud in there or we're horsing around in the room, he would just go, everybody out here right now, line up! And we'd all have to line up and everyone, and then, in order, and, Colin would go first, and, you'd take his belt out, and he'd never hit us anywhere else. He would hit us in our hand. So we'd just stand there, and he'd hit us in our hand, and then you go back to the room, and then the next person like that. And of course, now Michael and Susie, when they get to Michael and Susie, which Michael was, I'm the youngest, and Michael's the next one in line, and then Susie, my sister's the middle child. When he got to Susie, Susie would never stick her hand out, so she would, she would cry a lot, and it was annoying, she's the girl, and so that would be annoying for him. Sometimes he'd end up hitting her other places other than in her hand. Now Michael, when it came to his turn, he figured he didn't want any of that. So he would go running around the house on the outside, and he'd run, and my father would chase him. And then after a while, he figured out he'd just double back and catch him. And then it's like, you're gonna get it everywhere at that point, because by that point, my father kind of pissed off. But for the most part, that was a rarity when we'd get beat all over our body. The typical standard discipline was that you stick your hand out, you got a few hits in your hand, okay, and then you go back to the room. For me, he would shorten the belt down very, very short, and you take the belt, stick out your hand, and go wham. And it didn't really hurt that much, because immediately we would go, he was not really trying to hurt us, because we'd go back into the room and we'd all laugh. So it wasn't really that hard, but there's a little bit of fear in there, and we know we're not supposed to do any of that stuff. Not be, bad, so to speak. But I remember when I went to my mom and I said, Mom, can I have some oats and milk? And she says, no. And I said, come on, Mom, can I have some oats and milk? And I kept on bugging her. She says, no. Well, I decided, well, to hell with that. I'm gonna go get my own oats and milk. So I pushed up a chair against the counter, and I climbed up on the counter, got the oatmeal out, put it in the bowl, went to the fridge, got the condensed milk, okay, put them all back and mixed up everything, and I ate, and I was like, oh, this is so good. And then probably about an hour later, my mom comes over to me and she says, didn't I tell you no? And I'm like, yeah, and oh my God, my mom had the belt, and she beat me. Oh my God, beat me everywhere. There was no rules. She had no rules. She had, she was just inexperienced with this part. This was not a job that she should have been doing, because she was bad at it. She was beating me all over the place. And at the end, when she stopped, I looked at my mom, and it didn't hurt that much. I was more in shock, like, I could not believe that my mother, who was so kind to me, beat the living hell out of me, and I was much more in shock about that. But you know what? I never defied her again after that. Never, ever, ever. So that's my story about me getting disciplined. Now, later on, we'll tell you another story because about discipline, and you'll see how that compared going forward. But that's my story for today. Stay tuned for the next episode where I'll explain to you what happens next after this adventure.